Ancient Greece, a land steeped in history and myth, land of togas, temples, and really dramatic theater, the birthplace of some of the most iconic stories ever told. It's more than just a bunch of old ruins though. Each artifact tells a story, a glimpse into a world long gone but still influential. It's where Western civilization got its start. The ideas and practices born here shape the world we live in today. We're talking democracy, philosophy, art, basically all the good stuff. These thinkers laid the groundwork for modern thought, so buckle up because we're about to take a crash course in ancient Greece. From the majestic Acropolis to the bustling agora. Don't worry, there won't be a quiz at the end. Just a fun exploration of a fascinating culture. Think of it like this. Ancient Greece is like that friend who gives you amazing advice even if they haven't been relevant since like 2005. Their wisdom is timeless. Sure, they might wear togas to parties, but they still know how to have a good time and impart some wisdom along the way. Their debates and discussions were the foundation of modern intellectual thought, so let's dive into this ancient world of epic stories, philosophical debates, and maybe even a few toga parties. Experience the vibrancy of their festivals and the depth of their ideas. It's going to be a wild ride through history. Get ready to be amazed by the legacy of ancient Greece. Okay, so ancient Greece wasn't just one big toga party. It was a complex tapestry of different cultures and eras, each contributing something unique to the grand mosaic of history. It spans several periods, each with its own vibe and distinct characteristics that set them apart. First up, the Minoans. These guys were all about elaborate palaces, bull leaping, don't try this at home kids, and mysterious disappearances. They were the original thrill seekers of the ancient world. Think of them as the cool, mysterious neighbors who always seemed to be having more fun. Their art and architecture were vibrant and full of life. Next came the Mycenaeans, the more warlike folks who inspired Homer's epic poems. They were the heroes and anti-heroes of their time. They were all about conquering and fighting, leaving behind tales of bravery and tragedy. Think Game of Thrones, but with sandals and ancient armor. Their stories were filled with drama, intrigue, and epic battles. Then, things get a little murky with the Greek Dark Ages. Apparently, even ancient civilizations had their awkward phases. This period was marked by a decline in population and literacy. But don't worry, things picked up again with the archaic and classical periods. These eras saw a resurgence in culture, art, and intellectual pursuits. This is where democracy took root. Philosophers started asking really big questions, and those iconic temples and statues were built. It was a time of great innovation and creativity, laying the foundations for Western civilization as we know it today. Here's a fun fact. The word democracy comes from the Greek words demos, people, and kratos, rule. Basically, the Greeks were all about power to the people. Well, at least the dudes who weren't slaves or women. Still, it was a pretty radical idea for the time. Imagine a world where you could actually have a say in how things were run. But it wasn't all about politics. The Greeks were also obsessed with philosophy. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. These guys were like the rock stars of deep thoughts. They questioned everything from the meaning of life to the nature of reality. They even had schools of thought named after where they liked to hang out, like the Stoics who chilled out on the porch, or Stoa. Section 4. Famous Greeks, more than just names on buildings. Speaking of famous Greeks, let's talk about some of the big names who have left an indelible mark on history. There's Socrates, the OG philosopher who was known for asking annoying questions. He was a master of the Socratic method, a form of cooperative argumentative dialogue. He was basically the ancient Greek version of that friend who always plays devil's advocate, challenging everyone to think deeper. His student Plato wrote a bunch of dialogues that are still studied today, although they can be a bit of a snooze fest, let's be honest. Plato also founded the Academy, one of the earliest institutions of higher learning in the Western world. And then there's Aristotle, Plato's student who was kind of an overachiever. He wrote on a wide range of subjects from logic and ethics to physics and biology. He was into everything from logic and ethics to physics and biology. Aristotle's works laid the groundwork for many scientific disciplines. He even tutored Alexander the Great, who went on to conquer a whole lot of the world before he hit the ripe old age of 32. Talk about peaking early. Alexander's conquests spread Greek culture far and wide, influencing civilizations for centuries to come. Section 5. Laughter through the ages, Greek humor. You might not think of ancient civilizations as being particularly hilarious, but the Greeks were actually quite the jokers. They loved a good satire, especially when it came to poking fun at their politicians and philosophers. Think of it like the ancient Greek version of Saturday Night Live, but with more togas and fewer celebrity cameos. They even had a whole genre of theater dedicated to comedy called, well, comedy. These plays were full of slapstick puns and witty banter. They even had their own version of the Your Mama jokes, which just goes to show that some things are truly timeless. Section 6. Echoes of Ancient Greece. Still feeling the impact. So there you have it. A whirlwind tour of ancient Greece. From democracy to philosophy to comedy, their influence can still be felt today. Next time you cast a vote, ponder the meaning of life, or crack a joke, remember the Greeks who did it first, and probably with more style. So the next time you're feeling down, just remember that even thousands of years ago, people were dealing with the same stuff we are today. And they did it all while wearing bedsheets in public. Now that's something to think about.